All right, I thought I'd have a quick chat with my old buddy Garrett because, since giving that speech at the Atlanta Tea Party a few weeks ago, I've been getting an awful lot of encouragement to run for Senate in 2010 as a Libertarian candidate. But one loud voice against it all has been Garrett. So because I think he needs a platform better than the snarky comments he makes on my Facebook page, I thought it would be a good idea to let him make the case against a Von Hessler run for Senate right here. So let's hash it out. So, Garrett, why shouldn't I run for Senate in 2010?
Well, I don't understand why you need a bigger platform than you have now. If you don't speak to 100,000 people every morning, I can't understand how a libertarian slot in the Senate seat would get you more mileage.
Well, no, you do realize that there are only 100 senators in the country. It's a pretty exclusive club. If you were able to get into that club, your voice and the platform, of course, would be much larger. Now, from your premise and where you're coming from, I think what you're going to hit me with is, well, no Libertarian candidate has ever won at that level before, and you probably wouldn't be the first. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think a Libertarian's ever gotten over 5% of the vote, let alone one.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but my point of view is that the problem with the Libertarian Party so far has been that it's a debating club, and they need to become more like other parties, which means you don't have to agree with the candidate 100% of the time. You just have to get good candidates, and then while the candidate is running, that candidate becomes the party for that campaign. Like a lot of Republicans didn't agree with McCain, but while McCain was running, McCain was the Republican Party. He lost. Now they chuck him aside, and they go looking for somebody else. But I think the problem with the Libertarian Party is they're always looking for purity, so their candidates are pure to the hardcore, but they can't reach out to the mainstream, and they can't bring anybody in.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. But my other point is, to sustain any kind of campaign like this, you basically have to have your hand out all the time and fundraise constantly, and frankly, I don't see that in your personality. Well,
the fundraising, I think, will be done I'm like the star of the fundraiser, right? But I have the whole party. You'd be surprised. I've met people in the party, and they're very accomplished. They know what they're doing. And it's not like being a member of the House, right, where every 2 years you have to get elected. I basically have to bring in more funds than someone else would who wants to run for Senate. And I don't even know who I'd be up against within the party. There doesn't seem to be much opposition right now. And I think that I could raise funds. I would just raise funds in a different way. I mean, I would get a bunch of bands together, put them in Southside Steve's new bar, and tell people $50 at the door and your signature, and we have a good time, and we raise funds that way. On the other hand, maybe sometime I go to George Stein's home, bring in a few lawyers. It costs a bit more to get in the door there, and it's maybe a bit of a different affair. But the last guy who ran as the Senate candidate basically put a couple thousand of his own money in, and that was it. So we're starting at a completely different standard. I don't need to raise the kind of funds that a Republican or a Democrat does, because the primary should be easier for me to win. See what I mean? So, I mean, I don't have to, believe me, we're starting, the bar is low here for what a Senate candidate brings into the party, and I think I can triple, quadruple, maybe quintuple the amount of money raised. But my idea would be that we would do it in large fundraisers, big parties. It costs a certain amount to get in. We get your signature, and you have a good time. Maybe I come up and speak and bore you for a few minutes, but for the most part, you have a good time and get some skin in the game. I think I can mobilize a lot more people to get interested. And the thing is, once you get the nomination, I'm in the debate. I'm in the debates that they have on television with Isaacson and whoever the Democrat would be, and there's the platform right there.
Yeah, that would exceed the reach of 100.5.
Am I turning you around here? Now, see, I'm surprised that it's all about process, because from some of your comments on Facebook, which, I appreciate from all, it seemed more like you were saying that you didn't think that I would be or have the type of personality to be maybe a good senator or take it seriously enough or something along those lines?
No, I think you'd be excellent at it. I just don't think the process itself to get elected, like I said, the fundraising and sacrificing all the time would be up your alley.
Well, you got to remember, I'm not running for president, right? I mean, it's a statewide office. And what I would enjoy is, getting out of Atlanta and going to places like Macon and Augusta and Savannah and the other parts of the state. That's where the hard work is, I think, is to mobilize people there because they've never heard of me. They've never heard the radio show. And but I think that would be exciting to get out there and just sort of persuade people. I'm going to have a very simple message, Garrett. Less tax, more freedom. This is a simple message. And so I lead with that banner headline, and I just try to convince people that it's in their best interest to send somebody up there who wakes up every morning and the first thing he thinks in his head is less tax, more freedom, and then we go deal with the realities of business,
Yeah, that's understandable. Let's get to more practical matters, though. What are you going to do about your wardrobe?
Well, this is where I need good... Hey, wait a minute. First of all... That is a good criticism of me because I have a terrible fashion sense, but you're one of the only people I know who has a worse fashion sense than I do. So I don't know that I should accept it from you, but obviously I will ask advice from some people about what to wear because I will be out in front of people. And I tend to have a terrible... But you know what? Look, I don't want to change too much about myself. I've been talking to some people, and they said something like, well, maybe you ought to become a member of the NRA. Now, you know that I'm for the Second Amendment, but I've never been a part of the NRA, so don't you think that would be superficial? That I would, go and become a member right before I run for Senate? So maybe I'm going to be myself. Maybe I'll just dress the way that I dress. Hey, I shop at Target and Old Navy, but you know what? So do a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't know. You might want to get with a consultant about that, but because I don't think anybody's taking anybody seriously. Hell, even the Banana Republic leaders wear a suit.
I will wear a suit. I clean up pretty well. I look pretty good in a suit. So I'll get a couple of suits because obviously if you're in a debate and things like that, you got to be in suits. But most of the time, I think I'm going to meet people with maybe just sort of a dress jacket and some jeans on. I'm thinking of that the classic 1980s stand-up comic look. And I'll bring that back.
I agree that way. Don't forget to roll your sleeves up. That worked for Obama. Have a dress shirt with the rolled up sleeves.
I'm going to do it all, man. I'm going to do it all. But